Hey, this is Dizzy Reed from Guns N' Roses, and you're watching GNR Central. Yeah!
Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to GNR Central. And Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose is at it again. So when he's not busy creating new music, I'm just joking. He's not working in the studio. He never will be at this rate. He is out on Twitter. He posted 2 new tweets this morning. Yesterday. So the first he tweeted was, he said, no, it wasn't a rogue operation. No, MBS, you weren't betrayed by the West. So he's referring to the news story that's been going on the last week or so about the Saudi journalist who went missing at the Saudi embassy in Turkey. And MBS refers to Mohammed bin Salman, who's the Saudi crown prince. Now, according to a bunch of news sources, basically, if you guys aren't familiar with the story, the journalist Jamal Khashoggi went missing almost 3 weeks ago. He was a Washington Post columnist who had recently got married. He went to the Saudi embassy in Turkey, and he never came out. And there was all these stories that maybe he was killed there. Some people said they chopped up his body while he was alive and then just scattered it around the countryside. And first of all, Saudi Arabia said, we have nothing to do with this. And I'm not really one to get political, but I have been, reading the news, of course, for the last 15 or 16 years. If there's anybody who's like really responsible for a lot of the terrorism that goes around the world, it's the Saudi government. And, a lot of times I don't agree with Axl's tweets, but it's pretty obvious that the Saudi government has something to do with this. And the U.S. is kind of in a difficult position because on one hand, they are selling billions of dollars worth of arms to Saudi Arabia, and they don't want something like this to derail that because it creates jobs and it employs people, and of course it brings in revenue as well. There's a really good documentary that PBS Frontline did a couple of years ago where they talked about the Saudi royal family, and it was kind of funny when you look at Saudi Arabia's history, at least the last 50 or 60 years, they had so much American investment in their country, and they were westernizing very quickly. But at the same time, Saudi Arabia is a devoutly religious country. So the Saudi government's kind of like half in bed with the U.S. government and half in bed with these religious extremists. And over the course of the 70s and all the way up until now, the Saudi government's been funding a lot of these extremist schools and funding a lot of these terrorist groups that you see around the world as well. So if there's anybody who's responsible for a good portion of the terrorism around the world, to me, it's Saudi Arabia's government. Now, a large reason that they've been funding a lot of these religious extremist schools and terrorist groups is basically to appease the religious scholars who live in the country and who have a lot of sway as well. So let's get back to the news story about the missing journalist. So Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, was widely believed to own a $500 million mega yacht, one of the world's most expensive houses, and a chateau outside Paris. And so he spent $400 million or $450 million on this Leonardo da Vinci painting. So going back to the news story and Axl's tweet, basically when this journalist went missing, the Saudi government first said, yeah, he entered the embassy in Turkey, but then he left shortly afterwards. But then they had all this security camera footage they combed through, and of course he didn't leave. And then the Saudi government changed their explanation to, well, he was killed, but it had nothing to do with us. It was a bunch of rogue actors. But I think they captured one of his bodyguards on camera at the embassy. So it seems like his credibility has been damaged, not like he had any anyways. And then Axl's other tweet was actually a retweet, and I don't think I've seen Axl retweet a lot of people. In fact, he mostly just tweets his own stuff. So this is from a news account on Twitter that basically posted a town hall meeting that I don't know when it was held, but I guess with midterm elections coming up, there's probably a lot of town halls going on. And it was a really irate citizen who was upset at his congressman for being against healthcare. And he talked about his own personal dealings with it, his wife having cancer, and being worried about possibly losing his job and losing his healthcare. So Axl didn't tweet anything in addition to it. He just retweeted it. But, it's kind of funny. I kind of wish Twitter existed back in 1991 because I think Axl would have been a lot more interesting on Twitter. Could you imagine, remember how angry he was back during the Use Your Illusion tour? Everything was bothering him. If he had a platform to speak his mind to, everyone around the world, could you imagine how great his tweets would have been back then? But that basically does it for today's news, guys. Let me know your thoughts on Axl's tweets. Are you like me and just wish he would stop tweeting and dividing the fan base and just go make new music? Because it seems like they have ample time to go do it. It seems like Slash is only working with the conspirators because Axl doesn't want to work on new music. And we pretty much know that Axl's not going to be recording a new record with AC/DC, at least of those photos we saw in Vancouver or anything to go by. So thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like button if you enjoyed that video. And be sure to check out GNRCentral.com for the latest and greatest Guns N' Roses news. Take care.